My name is Nick Gates. I'm a policy advisor at Open Forum Europe, where I focus on research and policy work related to open source adoption and reuse in Europe. So all matters related to how open source is being thought about and regulated, but also kind of nitty-gritty research about how open source is being adopted by the public sector or kind of reused internationally. Open source in the last 5 years has gone from something that was either not regulated at all or under-regulated to something which is being regulated quite actively. So we've seen legislation like the Cyber Resilience Act, which affects obligations for people that put products out on the market that are dependent on open source software. We've also seen an emergence of open source exemptions in the AI Act. So increasingly we're seeing this intersection of open source and policy in Europe. But there's a question of what's going to happen and what's going to come next. So in terms of open source policy making, there's been a new commissioner and they have not expressed open source as a priority. So we're looking to secure the future of open source by engaging with policymakers and talking about critical topics such as open source AI and getting more funding into the open source ecosystem. On the topic of funding, we are trying to make the case for an EU-wide sovereign tech agency. I'll be giving a talk about that here today at FOSDEM'. And what we're really trying to do is to shore up funding for open source maintenance and security because it's the backbone of all of the infrastructure that we depend on. And so, creating those sovereign alternatives is important, but also investing in the open source software that they're built on is vital. So we'll be talking about that amongst many other things in relationship to open source policy here at FOSDEM'.